The dust-choked stagecoach rattled to a halt under the relentless Montana sun, and Eliza Thorne stepped out onto the parched earth of Willow Creek Ranch, her heart pounding like a trapped bird. At 22, she'd fled the suffocating mills of Boston, answering a newspaper ad for a mail-order bride with nothing but a faded photograph of a stern-faced rancher named Jacob Harlan and a desperate hope for a new life. Virgin and untouched by the world's harsher edges, she clutched her worn carpetbag, her white knuckles betraying the terror that had gnawed at her since the train left the east. What if this stranger was cruel? What if the vast, unforgiving frontier swallowed her whole? The ranch house loomed ahead, a sturdy log cabin flanked by endless fields of waving grass, and as she approached, a man emerged from the shadows, tall, withered, with eyes like storm clouds. "Miss Thorne," he said gruffly, tipping his hat, "welcome to your new home." Eliza forced a smile, her voice barely above a whisper as Jacob led her inside. The air smelled of wood smoke and fresh-baked bread, a far cry from the coal-stinking tenements she'd known. But the silence was oppressive. Jacob spoke little, his words clipped and practical, explaining the chores, the livestock, the isolation. He was a widower, he'd written in his letters, seeking a wife to manage the household while he tamed the land. No mention of love, only duty. That night, as she lay in the spare bedroom, the wind howling like a lonely ghost, Eliza's fears multiplied. She was a stranger in a strange land, bound by a contract to a man she barely knew. What had she done? The next morning brought the first glimpse of light in her shadowed world. As Eliza stirred a pot of oatmeal over the cast-iron stove, a small figure appeared in the doorway, a girl no older than 6, with tangled auburn curls and Jacob's stormy eyes, but softened by innocence. Lily Harlan stared at Eliza with wide curiosity, clutching a rag doll to her chest. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice a tentative melody that cut through the quiet like a sunbeam. "I'm Eliza," she replied, kneeling to the child's level. "Your pa's new, wife." The word felt foreign on her tongue, heavy with uncertainty. Lily tilted her head, her doll dangling forgotten. "Mama died when I was little. Pa says she went to heaven to watch the stars." Her lower lip trembled, and Eliza's heart twisted. She'd lost her own mother young, to the fever that ravaged the slums, leaving her to fend for siblings who scattered like leaves in the wind. Kindness, she thought, that was the thread that had kept her from unraveling. Without a word, she extended a hand, and Lily took it, her tiny fingers warm and trusting. Days blurred into a rhythm of ranch life. Eliza rose before dawn to milk the cows, mend fences under Jacob's watchful eye, and bake biscuits that filled the house with comfort. Jacob was not unkind, but distant, his grief a wall as solid as the Rockies. He spoke of his late wife, Sarah, in hushed tones, how she'd been the heart of the ranch until childbirth claimed her, leaving him with a newborn and a shattered soul. Eliza wondered if she'd ever pierced that armor, her own insecurities whispering that she was merely a replacement, a practical solution to his solitude. But Lily became her anchor. The girl followed Eliza everywhere, chattering about butterflies in the meadow, the colt born last spring, and the stories her mama used to tell. One afternoon, as they gathered wildflowers by the creek, Lily plucked a daisy and tucked it behind Eliza's ear. "You're pretty," she said simply. "Like the pictures in Pa's book." Eliza laughed, a genuine sound that surprised her, but beneath it lurked the fear, what if she failed them? What if her inexperience drove Jacob away? The unexpected turn came on a stormy evening, thunder rumbling like distant cannon fire. Jacob was out mending a broken gate when the skies unleashed a torrent, turning the paths to mud. Eliza paced the porch, worry etching lines on her face, Lily clinging to her skirts. Hours passed, and when Jacob finally staggered in, soaked and shivering, he collapsed by the fire, his face pale. "Fever," he muttered, waving off her concern. But as night deepened, his breaths grew ragged, delirium setting in. Eliza's terror resurfaced, raw and unrelenting. She was no nurse, no healer, just a mill girl with calloused hands from looms, not lives. Yet, seeing Lily's tear-streaked face, something stirred within her. Selflessness, she realized, wasn't born from strength but from necessity. She boiled water, steeped herbs from the garden as her mother had taught her, and sat vigil through the night, sponging his brow, whispering prayers she'd long forgotten. Lily curled beside her, whispering, "Don't let Pa go to heaven too." By dawn, Jacob's fever broke, his eyes clearing as he looked at Eliza, not with the guarded reserve of before, but with quiet awe. "You didn't have to," he said hoarsely. "Most would have run." I couldn't leave her, Eliza replied, glancing at Lily asleep on the rug. Or you? That moment of profound realization shifted everything. Jacob opened up over the following weeks, sharing tales of his youth, his dreams for the ranch, the love he'd buried with Sarah. Eliza confessed her fears, the terror of the unknown, the weight of being untouched by life yet thrust into its depths. In vulnerability, they found common ground, kindness bridging the chasm between strangers. The emotional climax arrived on a crisp autumn day, the leaves turning gold like promises kept. Lily had been quiet all morning, helping Eliza bake apple pie, her small hands sticky with dough. As they set the table for supper, the girl suddenly stopped, her eyes welling with unshed tears. Eliza, she whispered, can you be mama? Not just Pa's wife, but my mama? The words hung in the air, a transformative arrow piercing Eliza's heart. Terror melted into tears as she knelt, pulling Lily into her arms. Oh, sweet girl, she sobbed, I'd be honored. In that act of compassion, Lily's innocent generosity offering a family where none existed, Eliza felt the weight of her past lift. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving, her selflessness repaid in the purest currency, love. Jacob entered then, witnessing the embrace, and for the first time, his smile reached his eyes. He joined them, his strong arms enveloping both, whispering, welcome home, truly. As winter's first snow blanketed the ranch, Eliza stood on the porch, watching Lily play with the dog, Jacob chopping wood nearby. The frontier no longer terrified her, it had forged her. In kindness given freely, in selflessness that asked nothing in return, lay the power of humanity, to heal, to connect, to transform. And in that vast Montana sky, she saw not isolation, but endless possibility, a heartwarming reminder that even the most frightened souls could find their place, inspiring hope that love, unexpected and profound, waited for those brave enough to embrace it.